The Law of Creation. Introduction. You do not attract what you want, you express what you are. There was a time when you believed otherwise, a time when you thought your dreams existed somewhere beyond you, waiting to be summoned through rituals of desire, vision boards, whispered affirmations, the silent pleadings of a heart reaching toward a distant universe. You stood beneath the vastness of existence, believing yourself to be separate from the forces that shape reality, as though the universe were a merchant, dispensing rewards only to those who asked correctly. But this, you will come to see, was the greatest illusion of all. For creation does not answer to longing. It does not respond to wishes or to hope. It moves only in harmony with truth, and the truth is this: you are not a seeker of abundance, but the source of it. What you call manifestation is not a process of attracting something external. It is the natural unfolding of what has always been within you. Imagine for a moment the ocean. Does the wave struggle to find its form? Does it reach toward the horizon, hoping to become part of the sea? No. The wave does not need to attract the ocean because it is the ocean. It rises and falls effortlessly, an extension of something far greater, yet never separate from it. And so it is with you. The desires you chase are not distant objects waiting to be drawn near. They are currents within you, waiting to be expressed into form. For too long you have been taught to look outward. You have studied the rules of attraction, believing that if you could just align your thoughts, discipline your focus, and visualize with enough clarity, the universe would reward you. And yet, what has been the result? The endless cycle of wanting, reaching, waiting. A constant striving toward a horizon that seems to shift further away the more you pursue it. But there is another way. Understand this. The universe does not respond to your requests. It reflects your identity. It does not hear your words, your hopes, or your carefully constructed affirmations. It sees only what you are. You do not manifest wealth by wanting it. You manifest wealth by being it. You do not draw love by seeking it. You express love, and in doing so realize that it was never something to be found, only something to be revealed. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the weight of these words not as concepts to be understood, but as truths to be remembered. There is nothing missing in you. There is nothing to chase. Everything you have longed for has been waiting, not to be attracted, but to be expressed. The only work before you is the shedding of the illusion that you were ever separate from it. As you turn these pages, prepare to unlearn. Prepare to let go of everything you have been told about attraction and step into something far deeper. The realization that you are not calling things to you. You are allowing yourself to become what you were always meant to be. You are not manifesting. You are remembering. And when you remember, creation will no longer be something you do. It will be something you are. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Separation. Kate had spent years chasing a dream that always seemed just beyond her reach. Her nights were filled with whispered affirmations, her mornings devoted to scripting a future that never arrived. She surrounded herself with books on manifestation, studied the words of those who claimed to have unlocked the secrets of the universe, and meticulously curated vision boards covered in images of the life she longed for. Yet, despite all her efforts, the world around her remained the same. The abundance she sought stayed elusive. The love she yearned for never arrived. The success she envisioned was always almost within grasp, but never hers to hold. She often wondered what she was doing wrong. Was she not visualizing hard enough? Were her affirmations not spoken with enough conviction? Did she lack discipline, patience, and clarity? The weight of her desires pressed against her, filling her days with longing and her nights with restless hope. And still nothing changed. One evening, as the sky burned in the fading glow of twilight, she wandered into a small bookstore tucked between two buildings she had never noticed before. The scent of old pages and quiet wisdom wrapped around her as she stepped inside. There, among the shelves lined with forgotten knowledge, she reached for yet another book on the power of attraction, fingers brushing against its worn spine as if it held the missing key she had been searching for. A voice interrupted her thoughts. "You do not need more knowledge. You need to remember." She turned, startled, and found herself looking into the eyes of an old man seated near a window. He was not imposing, nor did he carry the air of a teacher or guru. And yet, something in his gaze felt ancient, as if he had seen the same questions reflected in the eyes of many before her. Kate hesitated. "Remember what?" "That you are not separate from what you seek." His voice was gentle, but his words struck her with an unfamiliar weight. "The moment you stop chasing is the moment you start creating." She stared at him, uncertain whether to scoff or listen. How could she stop chasing? Wasn't that the very essence of manifestation? The intention, the desire, the effort. Wasn't she supposed to reach for what she wanted? As if reading her thoughts, the man smiled. "Tell me," he continued, "when you breathe, do you ask permission from the air? Do you hope it will enter your lungs? Or do you simply breathe, knowing that it is already yours?" Kate blinked, unsure how to respond. "You have spent years believing that what you desire exists somewhere outside of you," he went on. "You see your dreams as distant things to be drawn near, rather than as reflections of what already exists within you. And in doing so, you have created the very distance you wish to overcome." She frowned. "So you're saying I should stop wanting things?" "No," he said, shaking his head. "I'm saying that wanting implies lack, and as long as you believe you lack something, you will remain separate from it. What you seek is not beyond you. It is within you, waiting to be expressed." She looked away, fingers tightening around the book she still held. His words unsettled her. They were not like the teachings she had read, the step-by-step guides that promised to help her attract what she wanted. There was no method here, no list of practices to follow, just a truth that felt both profound and impossibly simple. She wanted to argue, to tell him that she had tried embodying abundance, that she had told herself she was already wealthy, already successful, already loved. But even as she formed the thought, she recognized the flaw in it. She had not truly embodied those things. She had pretended. She had acted as if hoping the universe would eventually reward her with the real thing. But deep down, she had always been waiting, watching, measuring her progress, still believing that what she wanted existed apart from her. That night, as she lay in bed, the old man's words echoed in her mind. "You are not separate from what you seek." She thought about all the ways she had reinforced separation without realizing it. How every time she looked at her vision board, she reminded herself that she did not yet have those things. How every affirmation she spoke was a silent admission that she was not yet the person she wished to be. She thought she had been practicing manifestation, but in truth she had been deepening the belief that she lacked what she desired. Days passed, then weeks. She stopped her rituals, not out of frustration, but out of a quiet understanding that they had been built on a flawed foundation. Instead of trying to attract, she began to observe. She noticed the ways in which abundance already existed in her life, not in grand gestures, but in the smallest moments. The warmth of the sun on her face, the laughter of a stranger on the street, the ease with which inspiration flowed when she stopped forcing it. And as she shifted, something unexpected happened. The things she had once chased began to appear effortlessly. Opportunities unfolded, relationships deepened, abundance flowed in ways she had never anticipated. Not because she had asked for them, but because she had stopped believing they were ever missing. She thought back to the man in the bookstore, to the quiet certainty in his voice, and finally understood. She was never meant to attract her desires. She was meant to express them. Her seeking had kept her in a state of wanting. Her surrender had revealed that she was already the source of everything she had been looking for. She was not a student of manifestation. She was the creator of her reality, and she always had been. Chapter 2. The Law of Expression. If you plant a seed, does it hope to become a tree? Does it sit beneath the soil, longing to grow, wondering if it is worthy of reaching toward the sky? No. It simply unfolds into what it was always meant to be, because growth is its nature. You too are in a state of constant creation, not through effort, not through desire, but through identity. For centuries, we have been taught that life is something we must shape through force, that we must learn the right techniques, repeat the right words, and cultivate the right mindset to bend the universe in our favor. But the universe is not a merchant of wishes, nor does it respond to the desperation of longing. It is a mirror, silent, unyielding, and infinitely reflective. It does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. A man once stood before a still lake, holding a lantern in the darkness. He looked upon the water and saw its glassy surface illuminated by his light. If he raised his lantern higher, the reflection rose with it. If he lowered it, the reflection followed. Never once did the water question what to reflect. It simply mirrored what was placed before it, and so it is with your life. The world does not withhold what you seek, nor does it grant rewards to those who plead the hardest. It simply reflects your state of being. The wealth you desire, the love you crave, the success you long for, all of it is not something to be gained, but something to be embodied. Until you understand this, you will remain trapped in the illusion of striving, never realizing that what you seek has only been waiting for you to claim it as your own. The law of expression is not a technique nor a practice. It is not something you must learn, but something you must remember. It is the understanding that you do not manifest through wanting, you manifest through being. A woman once spent years seeking love. She wrote letters to the universe, described her perfect partner in great detail, visualized romantic moments, and yet love never arrived. In her heart, she carried a quiet ache, a whisper of loneliness that never truly faded. She believed she was calling love into her life, but in reality, she was radiating absence. Then, one day, she stopped searching. Not because she had given up, but because she had finally understood. She began to walk through life as if love were already hers, not as a game, not as an attempt to trick the universe into delivering what she wanted, but because she realized she no longer needed it. She became love itself, warmth, laughter, ease. And as she did, love appeared, not by force, not by attraction, but by reflection. This is the first truth of the law of expression, the law of identity. You do not create from desire, you create from embodiment. You do not attract success by chasing it. You become a success and the world mirrors it back to you. You do not draw happiness by seeking it. You express happiness and the world responds in kind. The second truth is the law of resonance. Your inner state is a frequency, and like vibrations call to like. Have you ever noticed how the days when you feel most powerful, most at ease, seem to flow effortlessly? How do opportunities seem to arise in moments of certainty, and yet in times of doubt, everything feels distant and difficult? The world does not react to your efforts. It responds to your state. A man stood atop a mountain and shouted into the vastness. His voice echoed back to him, the same words, the same tone, the same intensity. He could not speak of sorrow and hear joy in return. He could not whisper of lack and receive abundance. What he sent into the world was exactly what returned to him. So too is the nature of reality. Every thought, every belief, every feeling is an echo, calling back to you that which you send forth. When you declare, "I am struggling," the world replies, "Yes, you are." When you say, "I am abundant," the world affirms, "Yes, you are." Not because it chooses sides, but because it simply reflects what is given to it. And so, the question is not, "What do I want?" but "Who am I being?" The final truth is the law of perpetual creation. There is no pause, no moment in which you are not creating. Whether you realize it or not, every second of your life is a brushstroke on the canvas of your reality. Some create unconsciously, allowing old fears, limiting beliefs, and inherited doubts to shape their world. Others step into awareness, recognizing that every moment holds the power to shape a new path. Consider the river. It does not wait for permission to flow. It does not question whether it deserves to move forward. It simply does. It is not trying to reach the ocean. It is the ocean in motion. So too are you. Every day you wake with the opportunity to choose. Will you live as a reflection of old fears, or will you express the reality you wish to see? Will you act from lack or from fullness? Will you move as though you are still searching, or as though you have already found? The law of expression is not something you must practice. It is something you must recognize. The time for asking is over. The time for hoping is done. You are not separate from the life you desire. You are not a beggar at the doors of the universe, waiting to be granted what you seek. You are the creator, the source, the origin. And when you understand this, you will stop chasing. You will stop yearning. You will simply become. Chapter 3. Becoming the Source. Jordan was tired of struggling, tired of feeling as though life was an endless cycle of reaching for something that never arrived. He had done everything the books instructed. He had filled journals with affirmations, visualized his future with meticulous precision, and whispered words of wealth into the silence of his empty apartment. And yet, nothing changed. Every morning, he woke with hope, convinced that today might be the day the universe would shift in his favor. And every night he fell asleep with the quiet ache of disappointment, watching as another day passed, leaving him in the same place he had been before. The clients did not come. The money did not flow. The success he longed for remained a distant illusion, always just beyond his grasp. It wasn't that he lacked ambition. No, he had plenty of that. Nor was it that he wasn't working hard enough. If anything, he was exhausted from the sheer effort of it all. But no matter how diligently he followed the steps, no matter how deeply he immersed himself in the rituals of manifestation, the world remained unmoved. One night, as he sat in the dim glow of his desk lamp, surrounded by books on abundance, he felt something shift inside him. Not an external sign, not some grand revelation from the universe, but a quiet, undeniable knowing. It was so simple, so obvious, that he almost laughed at himself for not seeing it sooner. He had spent his life trying to be successful, but he had never once allowed himself to be successful. He had been moving as a man hoping for wealth, not as a man who already possessed it. He had spoken words of abundance, yet carried the energy of scarcity. He had asked, pleaded, visualized, but in doing so, he had reinforced the belief that what he wanted was something separate from him. Success had not eluded him. He had been the one keeping it at bay. That night, Jordan made a decision, not to work harder, not to seek more, but to shift his very state of being. He no longer asked, "How do I attract wealth?" Instead, he asked, "How would I move if I already had it?" He sat with the question, letting it sink into him. He imagined himself not as someone trying to make money, but as someone who already lived in the reality he desired. Not a man hoping for opportunities, but a man who naturally expected them. He thought of how he would carry himself, how he would speak, how he would make decisions if he were already living in abundance. And then, without hesitation, he began to act accordingly. He stopped taking on work that felt desperate. He no longer agreed to projects that undervalued him, no longer negotiated from a place of lack. He moved through his days with a quiet certainty, a deep knowing that he no longer needed to chase what was already his. And something changed. Not immediately. Not in a dramatic, overnight way. But in the weeks that followed, a subtle shift began to unfold. The same world he had been living in now seemed to bend differently around him. A business connection he had once considered out of reach reached out to him. A past client unexpectedly referred him to someone looking for exactly what he offered. New opportunities, ones he had never anticipated, began to appear, not through force, not through effort, but as though they had simply been waiting for him to become the version of himself who was ready to receive them. It was not magic. It was not coincidence. It was alignment. Jordan realized then that he had never needed to attract success. It had been there all along, waiting for him to step into it, waiting for him to claim it as his own. Because success does not come to those who seek it. It reveals itself to those who embody it. The illusion had always been that he needed to get something, that he needed to earn it, to call it in. But the truth was much simpler. He had only ever needed to be it. Looking back, he understood why nothing had worked before. Every affirmation, every visualization had been laced with quiet doubt, with the subconscious belief that success was something outside of him. But the moment he began to move as if he already had what he wanted, the world around him responded in kind. The man who asks how to attract wealth is declaring that he is not yet wealthy. The man who moves as if he already is wealthy does not need to ask at all. One morning, as he walked into a meeting that would change the trajectory of his career, he smiled to himself, remembering the man he used to be, the one who had spent years reaching outward, never realizing that everything he sought had been waiting inside him all along. He was no longer that man. He no longer asked for abundance. He simply lived it. Chapter 4. The Mirror of Reality. Reality is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens through you. For most of your life, you have believed yourself to be a traveler moving through an external world, encountering events that unfold beyond your control. You have been taught that life is unpredictable, that you must work to shape it, bend it, carve a path through it. But what if that was never true? What if the life you are living is not something you walk through, but something that reflects back to you, like a mirror, silent and absolute, showing only what you bring before it? Consider the way a mirror operates. It does not judge. It does not choose what to reveal. It does not distort or alter. It simply reflects. If you stand before it with joy, it reflects joy. If you stand before it with sorrow, it reflects sorrow. It does not withhold, nor does it favor one image over another. It only shows you yourself. And so it is with your life. Look around you. The relationships you hold, the opportunities that appear, the struggles that persist. Each one is a perfect reflection of your inner world. Not the world you wish for, not the world you hope to create, but the world that aligns with who you are. There is no effort in this reflection. The mirror does not require force to reveal its image. In the same way, the circumstances of your life do not come through struggle. They come through alignment. You do not chase what is already a part of you. It arrives effortlessly, drawn to you not by force, but by resonance. Take a moment. Think back to a time when something wonderful entered your life, something you did not plan, did not strive for, yet it came to you with ease. Perhaps it was an opportunity, a relationship, a moment of profound clarity. It arrived without struggle, as if the universe had simply placed it in your hands. Now look deeper. Who were you at that time? What state of being were you in? What beliefs were you carrying? What energy were you expressing? You will see that those things did not come to you. They came from you. A woman once desired love. She spent years searching for it, her heart aching with the weight of longing. She moved through the world with open hands, ready to receive, yet love eluded her again and again. Every relationship slipped away like sand through her fingers, leaving behind only the familiar echo of emptiness. She tried harder. She wrote down what she wanted. She visualized her perfect partner. She asked the universe, pleaded with it, yet love remained just out of reach. One day, exhausted by the seeking, she let go. She stopped waiting, stopped searching. She turned her focus inward, realizing that she had been trying to fill a space within herself that only she could fill. She became whole in her own presence, no longer needing love to arrive, no longer waiting for someone to complete her. And then, without effort, without warning, love appeared. Not because she had finally asked in the right way, not because she had followed a method, but because she had become the version of herself that no longer needed to seek it. Love had not been kept from her. She had been keeping herself from it. It had always been waiting to meet her. She simply had to become the person who was ready to receive it. A man once struggled with money. Every dollar felt hard-earned, every opportunity a battle. He believed wealth was something outside of him, something he had to chase, something he had to earn through relentless effort. And so money remained difficult, elusive, fleeting. Then one day he realized money had always mirrored his relationship with it. He had treated it as something scarce, and so it had treated him the same way. He had feared losing it, and so it had slipped away. But when he stopped seeing money as something separate from him, when he began to move through the world as though abundance was his natural state, the struggle ended. Wealth did not come to him as a reward. It came to him as a reflection. This is the truth that has always been before you. You do not force things into your life. You do not earn them through effort alone. You allow them by becoming aligned with them. Look again at your life. See it not as a series of random events, but as a mirror, faithfully reflecting your state of being. What patterns have repeated? What struggles persist? What flows effortlessly? And what always seems just beyond reach? Do not look to the external world for answers, for there are none to be found there. Turn inward. The world is not holding you back. The world is simply showing you you. This is why manifestation is not about effort. It is about alignment. When you embody abundance, abundance flows. When you embody love, love appears. When you embody success, success unfolds. Not because you have earned them, but because you have become the version of yourself who naturally lives them. The mirror does not distort. It does not decide. It only shows you what you bring before it. And so the question is no longer, how do I get what I want? The question is, who am I being? Chapter 5. The Final Truth. For as long as you can remember, you have been taught to ask. You have been told that if you want something, you must reach for it. That if you long for love, success, peace, or abundance, you must learn the ways to attract them, must practice patience, must wait for the universe to answer. You have prayed, affirmed, visualized. You have whispered your desires into the night, believing that the act of wanting was enough to bring them into being. You have written lists, crafted vision boards, followed every method, every step, every ritual designed to call forth the life you dream of. And yet, beneath it all, there has always been a quiet question lingering in the back of your mind. Why does it still feel so far away? The truth is this: you have been asking for what was never separate from you. You have been seeking what has always been within you. The illusion has never been that you were unworthy. It has never been that your desires were too great, too distant, too impossible. The illusion has always been that you needed to attract what was already yours. But how can you attract something that is already a part of you? A flame does not beg for light. It simply burns. A river does not ask for motion. It simply flows. The universe does not grant abundance, love, success. It does not give these things to those who have mastered the art of asking correctly. It simply reflects what is already present within you. You have spent your life believing you must become something more, but the final truth is that there is nothing to become. There is only something to remember. You are not a seeker. You are not a student forever reaching for knowledge that will finally unlock the life you desire. You are not a beggar at the gates of the universe, waiting for permission to receive what is yours. You are the source. And creation is not something you do. It is something you are. You are not here to ask for love. You are here to be love. You are not here to chase abundance. You are here to express abundance. You are not here to plead for success. You are here to embody success. The moment you stop seeking, you will see it clearly. What you have been looking for has never been missing. It has been waiting within you, not to be found, but to be expressed. There is no force in this. There is no struggle. The river does not fight to move forward. The stars do not wrestle with the night to shine. Creation does not happen through effort. It happens through being. Close your eyes. Feel this truth settle into you. Feel the weight of all the longing, all the striving, all the waiting fall away. Nothing is coming, because it is already here. All that remains is for you to become it. Chapter 6. The Law of Expression Workbook. This workbook is designed as a companion to the law of expression, providing you with tangible tools to shift from seeking to being. Through introspection, journaling, and guided exercises, you will move beyond the illusion of attraction and step fully into the power of expression, where creation becomes effortless. You do not need to try to manifest. You do not need to chase what is already within you. You are the source. Now let's begin. Understanding your reflection is the first step in this journey. Before you can consciously create your reality, you must first understand how you have been unconsciously creating it all along. The world is not separate from you. It is a reflection. Everything you experience is an extension of your internal state. You will begin by identifying the patterns that have shaped your life and uncovering the identity that has been driving them. Find a quiet place where you can reflect without distraction. Think back over your life and identify 3 major experiences: moments of success, failure, opportunity, or struggle. Write them down and examine what state of being you were in at the time. What beliefs were you carrying? What emotions were dominant in your life? As you reflect, notice the patterns. Did success come when you felt confident and free? Did struggle arise when you carried doubt and fear? Were opportunities present when you moved from ease rather than effort? Nothing in your life has been random. It has all been a reflection. Now take this deeper. Who have you been showing up as in your life? Not who you want to be, not who you hope to become, but who have you been embodying? Have you been moving as someone who believes abundance is natural, or someone who fears it will never come? Have you been operating as a person who expects love, or someone who chases it in desperation? Have you been stepping forward with certainty, or hesitating in doubt? Write freely. Let the truth emerge. This is not about judgment, it is about awareness, and awareness is the first step to transformation. Now that you have identified who you have been, it is time to step into who you truly are. This transition is not about forcing yourself into a new mindset, but about recognizing that the version of you who already has what you desire is not in the future. It is here now. You will move from longing to embodying, from believing you must attract something to realizing that you already are it. Words hold power, but not in the way most people think. It is not about repeating affirmations until they work. It is about speaking from your truth, not toward it. Most people say, "I want to be successful. I hope to find love. I wish to be confident." But when you declare "I want," you affirm that you lack. Instead, shift to "I am" statements, not as empty words, but as a declaration of truth. I am abundant. Money flows to me effortlessly because I am aligned with it. I am loved. I move through the world knowing I am already whole. I am successful. Opportunities find me because I embody my own greatness. Close your eyes and imagine the version of you who already has everything you desire. Not in the future, not someday, now. Who is this version of you? How do they speak? How do they move? What decisions do they make? Write in the present tense, as if you are already there. I am a person who wakes up feeling at peace. I make decisions with confidence. I no longer overthink. I trust. I do not chase opportunities. They come to me effortlessly. I live in a state of gratitude, knowing that everything I need is already within me. Step fully into this identity. It is not separate from you. It is you. Now that you have redefined your identity, it is time to live from it. This is where you move beyond the illusion of attraction and into the embodiment of truth. Many people misunderstand the idea of acting as if. They pretend to be wealthy, confident, or successful while internally feeling like they are still lacking. This is not an embodiment. This is performance. To move beyond acting as if, you must step into being as is, where you no longer try to convince yourself, but instead move as though it is already true. If you were already successful, how would you handle your finances? Start handling them that way now. If you were already deeply loved, how would you treat yourself? Begin treating yourself that way now. If you already knew opportunities were coming, how would you move through life? Move that way now. There is no waiting, there is no pretending, there is only bonaying. To fully integrate this new identity, you must live in alignment with it every day. Each morning before you rise, ask yourself, who am I embodying today? Speak your "I am" statements aloud. As you move through your day, check in with yourself. Am I thinking, speaking, and acting from my true self, or am I falling back into old patterns? At night, reflect before you sleep. Did I embody my true self today? Where did I align? Where did I resist? Adjust accordingly for the next day. You have spent your life believing that you must reach for what you want, but you do not need to reach. You do not need to seek. You only need to express what has always been within you. This workbook is not here to teach you how to manifest. It is here to remind you that you already are the manifestation. Live from that truth, and watch as reality transforms to meet you. Closing words: embody, don't chase. There is nothing more for you to seek, nothing more for you to grasp. You do not need to ask the universe for permission to receive what has always been yours. You do not need to prove your worthiness to forces that were never withholding anything from you. The journey has never been about learning how to manifest, how to attract, how to call something forth from the vast unknown. It has always been about remembering. You are not a seeker. You are not a beggar at the doors of destiny. You are not separate from the things you long for. You never were. The universe has never been something outside of you, something watching from a distance, deciding when and if you are ready to receive. The universe is you. It is not a force that grants wishes. It is a mirror reflecting truth. And your truth is creation. For too long, you have chased what you believe to be missing. You have held desires in your hands like fragile things, afraid they might slip away before they could be yours. You have studied, practiced, and perfected the art of asking. But what if there was nothing to ask for? What if the moment you stopped seeking, you found that everything had already been within you? Take a breath. Let go of the illusion that you are on a path leading somewhere. There is nowhere to arrive. The version of you who is whole, abundant, at peace, and in love with life is not waiting at the end of some distant road. That version of you is here, now, beneath the layers of doubt, beneath the stories of lack, beneath the belief that anything outside of you needs to change before you can become what you were always meant to be. Stop manifesting. Start being. Move through the world no longer asking, no longer hoping, no longer looking for signs to confirm that you are on the right path. You are the path. You are the source. You are the creator. Live as though what you desire is already yours, because it is. Speak as though you already know, because you do. Move as though there is nothing left to chase, because there isn't. Let this book not be something you learn, but something you remember. The final truth is simple. You were never meant to search for creation. You were meant to be it.